Hello everyone. As usual, we start with the news, because today they are hot in every sense. A series of strong earthquakes has shaken Japan. The most powerful tremors, with a magnitude of 7.1, were recorded in the southwest of the country near Kyushu Island. According to the Japan Meteorological Agency, the epicenter of the earthquake was located near Miyazaki Prefecture. The focus was at a depth of 30 kilometers beneath the ocean floor. Reports indicate that before this, seismologists had recorded tremors with a magnitude of 6.9. As a result, tsunami warnings were issued for Kagoshima, Kati, Miyazaki, Ayeta, and Ahime prefectures. The tsunami wave height in Miyazaki Prefecture reached up to 80 centimeters, while in other areas, tidal waves did not exceed half a meter. Despite the strong tremors, there have been no reports of casualties or significant damage, and the earthquakes did not cause any irregularities at Japanese nuclear power plants. There are no signs of damage at either the Ikata plant or the Sendai nuclear power plant. These are the scenes from Canada. In Vancouver, a shocking incident occurred. During a fire, a massive tower crane collapsed in full view of numerous onlookers who have shared dramatic footage on social media. The 6-story building under construction caught fire in the evening, with flames engulfing the entire structure. Firefighters arrived on the scene but were unable to quickly extinguish the blaze. Moreover, at one point the heat caused the crane's supports to fail, and it crashed down onto the roadway. This resulted in damage to trolleybus lines and power lines. 2 firefighters sustained minor injuries, but fortunately there were no casualties. A state of emergency has been declared in Alaska following the breach of a glacial lake. This happened in the Mendenhall Valley. The Mendenhall Glacier was breached, and as a result, the northern parts of the city of Juneau, closer to the river, have been submerged. The flooding has covered roads and homes, which now resemble man-made islands. Streets and driveways are no longer visible. The water level reaches the windshields of cars. Many residents of the flooded neighborhoods have been forced to leave their homes. Juneau authorities have declared an evacuation and opened shelters for displaced persons. As of this morning, there are no reports of fatalities or serious injuries. Regarding the causes of the glacial flood, there are several factors. First, the water level in the Mendenhall River reached a record high, almost 5 meters, compared to the usual 4 and a bit. The increase in water level occurred due to overflow across the glacier, which acts as a natural dam. A channel formed at the lower end of the glacier, through which rainwater and meltwater flowed into Mendenhall Lake, and from there into the river, leading to the flooding of the city. These might be the most epic shots of this episode. Although they were not filmed today or even yesterday, this video has hardly been shown anywhere before. The footage was taken at Yellowstone National Park, where an explosion occurred on July 23rd. At that time, it seems no tourists were injured, but the Biscuit Basin area where it happened was closed to visitors until the end of the summer. So, what caused the explosion at Yellowstone? Is the eruption of the supervolcano, which could potentially end life on Earth, imminent? Scientists are currently trying to find answers. Michael Poland, a geophysicist from the U.S. Geological Survey, believes the explosion was caused by a buildup of steam and boiling water that found an outlet through an active spring. This is not the emergence of a new geyser. Scientists are also reluctant to make predictions about a possible eruption. So far, the explosion has not changed the physical conditions in the national park. Equally severe footage continues to emerge from the eastern coast of the U.S. Hurricane Debby, shows no signs of letting up. It has weakened to a tropical storm, but its power is still enough to flood cities and entire regions while claiming lives. According to the latest reports, Debby has already claimed 6 lives in Florida and Georgia. The cyclone is now affecting Georgia, as well as the states of South and North Carolina. Intense rains have already fallen, but American meteorologists believe the worst is yet to come. Debby could potentially bring record-breaking amounts of precipitation, forecasted to range from 250 to 510 millimeters of rain in parts of South Carolina, and up to 635 millimeters in some areas of southeastern North Carolina. Authorities are trying to reassure the public, but they warn of a real threat of catastrophic flooding. A state of emergency has been declared in the affected states, but Debby's impact will not be limited to the southeastern U.S. Intense rains and, consequently, the threat of flooding are also expected in northern states. Rainfall will affect areas from the Ohio Valley to Maine, where meteorologists anticipate significant flooding. The extent of flooding in urban conditions can be seen in Naucalpan, Mexico. After heavy rains, rivers surged through streets and roads, flooding even an underground vehicle tunnel. Some cars were partially submerged, while others were completely covered by water. A few vehicles were swept along by the current, floating like fishing boats. Local residents report that the torrential rain occurred in the afternoon. 4 drivers were retortedly affected, but none required hospitalization. Besides motorists, vendors at the San Bartolo market also suffered, as the market aisles were so flooded that vendors had to scoop out the water using whatever tools they could find. Currently, municipal workers and civil defense teams are working to address the aftermath of the downpour and restore traffic flow. Now a bit about ecology and vandalism. Environmental activists splashed paint on the facade of Lionel Messi's mansion in Spain. Supporters of the Futura Vegetalia movement managed to enter the footballer's villa on Ibiza and defaced the building with paint. They explained their actions by saying that the wealthy are responsible for the climate chaos occurring in the world. Activists specifically wrote on social media that, quote, Messi's mansion is an illegal structure that the footballer bought for 11 million euros, and the wealthiest 1% are responsible for the same amount of carbon dioxide emissions as the poorest 2/3 of people. Previously, supporters of Futura Vegetalia had carried out various actions in Spain, blocking traffic in Madrid and disrupting airport operations. Besides publicity, it seems their actions have had little effect. The most expensive accident. That's how social media users jokingly described the incident that occurred off the coast of Naples, Italy. There, yachts belonging to billionaires collided. One of the yachts involved belonged to Lorene Powell Jobs, the widow of Steve Jobs. The footage shows the 78-meter yacht Venus, owned by the Jobs family, crashing into the 105-meter yacht Lady Mora, owned by a Mexican billionaire. According to media reports, the combined value of the yachts is around $255 million. The collision is thought to have been caused by strong winds. No one was injured, though Lady Mora did sustain a scratch. While the owners of Lady Mora did not make a scene, they highlighted that repairing the damage will be costly. Nonetheless, it appears the money will be found. A plane sustained damage after a hailstorm in Kazakhstan. The incident occurred in Astana. A passenger jet scheduled to fly to Atirau was struck by a container blown by strong winds. As a result, the flight was delayed due to the need to replace the aircraft. Overall, the storm severely affected the capital of Kazakhstan. The biggest issue was hail the size of quail eggs. Ice pellets damaged dozens of cars. Some of the aftermath is visible on your screens. There were also casualties. 2 people sought medical help, a 52-year-old woman and a 6-year-old boy. However, hospitalization was not necessary as their injuries were minor. Share your thoughts in the comments. Peace and well-being to you and your families. And of course, take care of yourselves and our shared home, our planet.